Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. In news that people were desperately trying to make the most popular dramatic news that we've ever gotten within the cryptocurrency space news. Apparently, Stanford University will reportedly be returning millions of dollars worth of gifts that they received from FTX a number of years ago. According to a new report by Bloomberg, a spokesperson for Stanford University says that the California University will be returning the donated money in its entirety so those affected by the downfall of FTX can recover their funds. There's so many layers to this terrible, terrible onion that we keep going through over the course of the last year or so. This news was presented as, for those of you who forgot the entire Sam Bankman-Fried FTX fiasco that we have been constantly dealing with over the last year or so. A lot of people, a lot of companies, institutions have been giving back their money. A lot of people that I've seen online appear to believe that universities, corporations, etc. have been giving back their money because it's like the right thing to do. In that, oh no, we see what's happened to FTX and we simply can't allow that. So they begin to give back the money to in good faith. These companies, corporations, and universities don't actually care about people. I'll try and elaborate on that if I remember after my little conversation that we're having right here. It's being done more so for the actual public image, and or a lot of them have actually been told by judges to actually give the money back. If it was deemed, not this university in particular, but if it was deemed that the actual donation and or giving of money might have had some type of a political sway to it. That's why we saw last year and the beginning of this year, after the entire FTX thing happened, all people who were given donations by Sam Bankman-Fried were basically told, or kind of like had to give it back, because it also doesn't look well for the political public image if you've been given money by this man who allegedly misused billions of dollars worth of customer funds. And, you can't keep his money because it looks like you're also part of it as well. This news was huge. And once again, we're in this really weird trap where within the cryptocurrency space, like actual major big news doesn't make it to the top of the headlines, but stuff like this really gets people rattled, chattled, feathered. I have no idea what's going on, but it's the same exact thing for those of you who've been missing out on the Sam Bankman-Fried news. Apparently he's only been eating peanut butter sandwiches. His laptop has a new battery. I think his father is now in trouble because he went on a shopping spree, and I think his mother is suing him, or the father, or someone suing someone in the family, because I think they were only getting $200,000 as their paycheck per year, and they wanted $1 million. You see how this is constantly all like, oh wow, that's not that interesting. That was the most popular news story of the day. Oh, well, that just sounds absolutely terrible. As stated by a spokesperson in an email to Bloomberg, they said, "We have been in discussions with attorneys for the FTX debtors to recover these gifts, and we will be returning the funds in their entirety." Do any of you remember it must have been 2018, 2019. It's a while ago. When I talk, so, when we talk about the companies and institutions and blah, blah, blahs who are into Bitcoin, into the cryptocurrency space, who are like actively buying, a lot of times we hear news like MicroStrategy or ARK Invest or these other, oh, wow, cool, they're the only ones who are buying up Bitcoin. We heard back, it must have been 2018, 2019. So for those of you who don't know how universities work within the United States, you give them every ounce of money that you have They let you stay on their grounds, their land for 4 years. They continue charging you for everything, even the air that you breathe. And then at the end of it, they give you a little piece of paper. When you actually look into how the universities are built and like how they work, and like you must have seen some type of a movie before about America where they're showing like people in university and like they live in these like massive homes and they have like the Beta Kappa Beta and all these other houses and stuff like that. Those are actually real things. You know how they have the money to actually build those things is because they dramatically overcharge for tuition. They have like sports fields and they have like 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools and stuff like that. The excess money that they get, so they charge a huge amount of money for tuition, and then the excess that they get ends up going into like a university fund that is managed actually by banks and other institutions. They have, for those of you who don't know or are simply unaware, they have stocks, they have bonds, they have mutual funds, they have ETFs, you name it, they own tons of things. In a lot of ways, if you look at the maps of how these universities used to be laying out, it was just one gigantic monolithic building that you always see. You know, like if you look at other universities, it's like, oh, cool, there's one building on this street. What happened over the last 100 or so years is that they charging tuition, even before, because in the 70s and 80s, tuition, of course, wasn't that high. They began to use this money to actually buy the land and space around them. And this is how they've spread out so far. These institutions, these universities are sometimes worth hundreds of millions and or low billions of dollars. And I know it's different, like it's difficult to conceptualize that, especially as someone who may live in a country where your university only costs $200 per year and or is completely free. You would assume that it literally costs $35,000 a year. Like, you know, they calculated the cost. It has to be $35,000 a year to go to these schools. No, the excess money they use for investments. So we got news, bringing it on back. We got news in 2018, 2019. I can't remember. There were 2 universities. I want to say Brown and Harvard. I want to say those 2 names for some reason. They're sticking out in my head. You can definitely find it online. The information's there. They announced that they actually had cryptocurrency like investing funds, and they were actively buying up tons of Bitcoin themselves as well. But that news has relatively disappeared. The point being, the public assumes that the only companies who are investing in crypto tend to be like the MicroStrategies and the ARK Invest and maybe the Fidelities and the BlackRocks, what have you. No, like these universities are also doing it as well. The idea of them giving back millions of dollars won't even like scratch a wall for them. Like it does absolutely nothing because they're worth hundreds of millions already. They're constantly getting on top of you also paying huge amounts for university, for actual, you know, learning. They're also getting tons of donations from other people who've already gone to the school for new wings and for new areas and for new things. And also like, also for museum investments as well. It's a really interesting con. It's a really, really, really interesting way that they kind of siphon off money to only make sure that they actually become a lot richer. Universities also invest in huge pieces of art as well. Look into it. I'm telling you. It's a very fascinating thing. We only sometimes see the surface level of how money is moving around the world, but when you actually figure out how much money these people have who are charging you too much money, it's kind of like also, last point, like with insurance as well. If you look into like what the insurance companies actually do with the excess money that they're getting, you would be angry. You would be very, very angry because they're basically creating these funds and these things. They work with Fidelity. They work with BlackRock. Like these are like asset custody management companies who deal with these larger entities to make them richer and like custody their assets. It's all tied together. It's really crazy. The spokesperson said that most of the donations were made for Coco reasons. Sure. The news comes after the estate of FTX filed a lawsuit against the parents of its former chief executive, Sam Bankman-Fried, both legal scholars and professors at Stanford University, alleging that they used their influence to enrich themselves directly and indirectly by millions of dollars. Now, listen, I'm going to play the devil's avocado here. Name one rich family on this planet who has not used their influence to enrich themselves, directly and indirectly. One rich family. And that even goes to sports stars. How many times have you seen the uncle's brother's mother of some sports star at an event getting stuff signed as well, hanging around their cousin who they haven't spoken to in the last couple of... People keep making, and I don't know why this is happening, people keep making it seem as if this entire Sam Bankman-Fried thing is the first time that we've ever heard about any of these things ever. So because the parents used to work at Stanford now has to give back. I mean, it's not like Stanford needs the money anyway. Anyway, this was incredibly popular news. I only have one tab open for the sake of my sanity because it's like, whoa, rich people do stuff like that? I can't believe it. If you get a chance, look into how universities actually work and how they deal with money and how wealthy these institutions are. I remember being shocked as a kid to find that out. A lot of my friends went to university in the States. I ended up going to university for a little bit in France, and just finding out like the amount of land that these universities owned, like they're basically like little cities. I had a friend who went to school in Boston, and I used to go visit him from time to time. And I remember learning that like he used to point to buildings. Yeah, they own that, they own that, they own that. And even as we walked through the city, he would show me like the other schools that the universities also owned as well. So like when like their students are looking for housing and stuff like that, they have to be sometimes off campus, but even like off campus, air quotes, is something like 6 blocks away, another building that the university also owns. It's very, very, very fascinating. That's the, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Sam Bankman-Fried is a monster. This is the first time that this has ever happened in human university, and now Stanford University has to give back money that they don't even need? That's crazy. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Also, I'm not sure. I'm literally not sure anymore if we went over this because we've had similar news to this over the last couple of days. Apparently, Citigroup is launching a new service called Citi Token Services. That is to say, Citibank. That will transform customer deposits into digital tokens that can be sent instantly worldwide. What? So listen. The last couple of weeks have been quite tumultuous. There's so much happening within this space. It's impossible to really keep up anymore. This sounds familiar, but then it also doesn't sound familiar as I'm saying it out loud. Apparently, Citibank and Citigroup are creating a new thing where they're going to digitize their customers' funds into digital tokens, not cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrencies are decentralized and everyone can use them. They're permissionless. And then they're saying that these tokens that were transformed from the customer money will then be used to send money instantaneously around the world. That's already possible with blockchain and like with the cryptocurrencies that we already have, but it would make sense that a bank like Citigroup would not announce that they're actively using some other coin or chain to send money around. Once again, I don't know if we went over this. It's not the most exciting news in the entire world. It's more of a, hey, another bank, another institution, another this is trying to get into the digital payments kind of space. But the great part for us is that they're all doing it on their own. So the problem is at some point these things will have to become interoperable. You have to make sure that Citigroup stuff actually works with JP Morgan, who's making their own coin. JP Morgan stuff actually has to work with Bank of America, has to work with Deutsche Bank, has to work with all these other banks in Asia. So I find it very fascinating that everyone's creating their own new token service that they think or assume that every other bank is simply going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to use it. But every bank is also developing their own. So they're going to have to hold hands and kumbaya and make some kind of other centralized service. But this was And I'm not sure, I'm literally not sure who the people are writing some of these news articles, because the trend that I'm seeing over the last couple of months is very weird, in that we're getting a lot of central bank digital currency, bank developing a new stablecoin payment system, whatever. And it's usually being touted as like positive news, as in the rest of the world is digitizing. They're finally realizing how amazing cryptocurrencies are. You know, this is a cool, and it's like, no, there's one website, it's not this one, who recently had multiple articles about how people in China are being like airdropped their central bank digital currency. How like the train system is now accepting the digital currency. How like this restaurant is now accepting it. And when you read the article, it's like, this is a step forward for crypto. And it's like, who's paying you to write these articles? Because none of that is true at all in the slightest. People there are being forced to use these things. They're being airdropped and told that you have to use it. Like, this is an incentive to use this money for free. I don't know how people, I assume that these are people being paid, wink, 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 to write these articles, but it's very odd. So cool. Another bank has announced that they're going to transform the digital landscape by making sure that things remain even more centralized and that they have all the power forever, because that's just how the world ends up working. That's the Citigroup news. And yeah, let's move on. Also I'm sensing a pattern news. Do you remember we had news that there was someone who was part of the Ethereum ICO and they moved their coins. They literally moved them, and that made like major news of the day. There was another thing about a Bitcoin wallet that had coins since 2011 had moved their coins. That also made major news. It was the guy in Norway who found his old coins that are now or would be worth $118 million. That also made very big news. There was another news story about someone who had old coins. For some reason, we're getting a lot of like, hey, what's happening? Someone's moving their money. I don't know why I keep making that voice news. So apparently a Bitcoin whale who purchased a lot of Bitcoin around 6 years ago, 2,100 Bitcoin. The article says the coins have reawakened, and they moved their money around. Blockchain intelligence company PeckShield, that is a weird name, revealed that through a tweet that the previously inactive address, which holds approximately 2,100 Bitcoin, has reawakened. According to data from BitInfo Charts, this Bitcoin address initially received the stash of Bitcoin on October 19th, 2017, and they paid $11 million for it. And now, with prices having risen, apparently it's now worth $56 million. And the news that we always get with these things, I usually assume, this is my vantage point. Whenever we get news like this, I always assume it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Someone found their old Bitcoin. Look how much richer they are now. They can go live their best life if they want to. But it's usually portrayed as like, where are these coins going? Why are they moving their money? It's been dormant for 6 years. They're doing what with it? It ends up being like a scary kind of event. We've gone over this before. If you found out that you put $26 into something and you saw $118 million, you wouldn't go, nah, I don't want to move Bitcoin's price. Let me just put this laptop back under the table. No, you're going to move your money around. So yeah, I'm not sure why a large portion of the news nearly every day, the popular part of the news, ends up being that someone moved their money around. But sure, I don't know how I'm supposed to make that scary news. They gained 377%. Am I supposed to be sad because Bitcoin's value has gone up and they made more money? That's the whale news. All right. Let's move on. Also oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This is the craziest news ever. Bybit, that is BYBIT, one of the largest derivative crypto exchanges in the world, has announced that they're listing PayPal stablecoin. Yay! Bybit and nearly every other crypto exchange at this point has announced that they're going to be listing PayPal's coin. For those of you who don't know how listings work, it's totally, fair to not really understand or know how, how it goes down. Basically because we had this information around 2017, 2018, 2019, when it was more of a factor for the cryptocurrency space. Everyone wanted their coin listed on cryptocurrency exchanges, and therefore people began to dig into how it would be done. The news that we got back then was, and I'm sure it's still the same, is that you had to pay money to get your coin listed. We heard this across multiple platforms. Apparently it was different amounts for different coins, which is a little shady. Let's be completely honest. There are certain apparently companies who had to pay like $500,000 to get their coins listed. Others had to only pay $250,000. The idea is you pay $250,000 to get your coin listed, but then it's also on Coinbase, and then it has exposure to millions of more people. So therefore your coin's price will rise, and that's kind of like a quid pro quo, if you will. So PayPal more than likely has had to pay every crypto exchange to get their coin listed as well. The amount of PayPal US dollar news has been completely out of control. Between them and Coinbase's stablecoin, I'm not sure which one is more desperate at this point. They understand that we are going to, already are, only 2020 vision can, say that for us in the future. Moving up already in price, anticipation of the halving, what have you, prices rising, yada, yada, yada. They know that trading volume is going to be there, so they're trying to make sure that they are well known in the cryptocurrency space and are available on every exchange before prices really get out of hand. But it's also cool. We had news recently that PayPal stablecoin only had around $24 million worth of coins available, comparative to, I think, the 70 billion that Tether alone has. So cool. Yeah, wonderful, cool. Their PayPal. It's not like I have to wish them well. Regardless of what I say, they're going to continue making billions of dollars every single year. Now they're just looking for another avenue to try and make money as well. Didn't PayPal just make a... No. Sorry, never mind. I was thinking that PayPal had just made a cryptocurrency exchange. What PayPal did was allow people in the States who have crypto to exchange their crypto into local money in the form of a debit card. So now you can use your cryptocurrencies through PayPal through their debit card or something like that. That's what I was thinking. Okay, never mind. Anyway, that's the PayPal's stablecoin is now basically on every single cryptocurrency exchange news. Fantabulous. All right, let's move on. So I thought this was a joke, but this is no joke. US-based retail giant Walmart is apparently gearing up to offer their customers a different kind of experience. I'm not sure if any of you know where this news is going to go. Walmart is aiming to provide customers with a unique experience by selling the physical versions of their items that they use in their store into a metaverse. In 2021, I remember laughing. I mean, tears running down the side of my face laughing, because we got news that there were several companies, but the one that really stood out to me was H&M. Were making their own metaverse. And the idea of the H&M metaverse was that you can go online shopping. Actually, you would walk through digitally an H&M and you would check out the clothing on the rack. You would walk your little avatar around and go to the second floor, and you would also go shopping. You would literally have to go through the racks. There was even a proposal that when you were done shopping, you would have to stand on a digital line. And I laughed because I said, remember this? The idea of a metaverse is to be something that we can't physically do on this earth. In a metaverse, you should be able to instantaneously change your clothing. Your shoes should have wings on them. You should be able to fly on a dragon. Your car, if you want a Maserati or whatever, and in the metaverse, cool. You get it instantaneously. You can drive on walls. You can be Batman for all you want. Anything that you can't do in the real world, you can do there. Why in the world would I sign up for a digital metaverse version of H&M where I have to stand in line and search through the racks? Walmart has announced they are creating a digital physical experience for all of their customers. Additionally, Walmart has collaborated with the Scoop clothing brand in the fashion sector on the metaverse and will soon be introducing the services to their users. Walmart plans to add new decor products from Mainstays and Better Homes and Gardens companies to the House Flip metaverse world, allowing customers to browse and purchase products in the virtual environment. These people want you to walk through a digital Walmart. Am I the only one who's understanding what's happening? These people literally want you to waste your time. You will have the option of actually not having to go into a physical Walmart. Like think of that in the future. You can literally, I'm certain you can just buy your stuff online. Imagine being like, oh, it's really hot outside. I don't want to go outside today. Let me go shopping on Walmart. You have to put on a headset and then you walk through the aisles of what you were going to do physically. Thomas Kang, the general manager of Metaverse Commerce at Walmart, geez Louise, stated in an interview with VentureBeat that customers will be able to make payments for both physical and virtual products using only their Walmart accounts on the metaverse without the need to visit a physical store. Well, thank freaking goodness. I was confused. I thought I had to go to the metaverse and then to the physical store to pick up my items. Kang is also the executive in the field of innovation at Walmart. Oh, I'm certain. He said, we have the opportunity to reshape and rediscover our offerings in a way that will benefit our customers. Stop the lies. Like literally stop lying. This is what it's going to look like. For those of you looking at this, it is, oh my gosh, it is a digital aisle. They have stuff stacked. You know, when you talk about like a dystopian future, like this is it. There's a digital shopping cart. Is that a slug? What is this thing right here? What is this thing? There's a carton of milk. That is a pineapple. And there's a watermelon. You have to digitally pick up stuff and put it into your cart. You are... Wow. So... as you might have imagined, this was also quite popular news because it is about Walmart and the word metaverse. I am going to assume that they are not going to be integrating any cryptocurrencies because they are probably going to be making their own Walmart coin at some point. If any of you or your family members ever use this, please take the headset off and go outside and get some air. Take a deep breath of fresh air. I can't imagine that anyone would actually use this. I actually cannot imagine. Walmart is making their own metaverse. And, I used to think that some of the other metaverses were a little weird as well, as far as the way that they looked and what they had doing. I saw some of them you have to jump from platforms and you have to pick up items and you can throw them and you can, call your friends in their portals. And I was like, okay, I'll have to get used to it. This metaverse probably literally starts you at the doorway of the Walmart and you have to walk by a digital greeter. I'm certain of it. I'm absolutely certain of it. One of the items on the list says drone battery. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. This can't be real. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.